our museum last month, our new museum. That's more than we had in a couple of years in previous years when we were very small. And in that that potential, I mean, I have no way to measure this, but far more than 3/4 of them were not veterans. Many of them were the sons and daughters of veterans or the grandsons and daughters of veterans. Mm-hmm. But as the years go by, the percentage of veterans gets smaller and smaller. So that's an important obligation, I think.
I also think that the museum was created to also bring awareness.
Yes,
of
indeed.
What veterans have been through. And
it's amazing when you look at the pictures from Civil War, World War I, Korean War, Vietnam, and you see the same equipment that was used in those conflicts. I'm very proud. We have a museum curator, Becky Zingarelli, who actually has a master's degree in museum and computer technology related to documenting what a museum has. She's been very stringent. On our first floor, there is nothing there that wasn't actually in that part of history that we display it. The first piece we have was built in, was manufactured, well, that's probably a bad word, put together by a few people in Britain in 1706. It's a blunderbuss pistol used by British officers to repel boarders. It ended up in the American side and probably killed a few British guys. Mm-hmm. But that's our oldest piece. And then we have a piece I'm very, very proud of a complete uniform of a soldier that would have gone to Afghanistan a year ago. They're all, as you know, there are changes every year, but that thing is up to date, and we've had current reservists come in who've been deployed and say, that's what I just went with. So we want people to understand the whole range of history. That's on our first floor, where we really, I want to put a plug in for, we have 20% of everything we have in our new museum has been donated since we opened. Because once people see what that museum is and how many people can learn about the military, they want their special treasure to be in there. For example, we have the side window of a Humvee, the actual Humvee that was attacked in Mogadishu, Somalia during the action of Black Hawk Down with Danny McKnight, who's a terrific retired colonel who lives in the area. He donated that. He said, you know, my guys wanted me to keep it, but I said, no, it's better than the museum. So we're very proud of that piece and many others that we've received from them all over. Captain Ed Lanny, who is 90-some years old, was in the Merchant Marines during World War II and all the other things. He ended up as captain of the Range Sentinel, which was one of the ships that would go out for the space shuttle. Mm-hmm. He gave us the steering wheel after they decommissioned that ship, and many other treasures. He'll be a featured speaker at our Memorial Day ceremony on May 29th from 9 until 10:30. Along with, we're going to keep modern too, along with Brigadier General Wayne Monteith, who's the commander of Patrick Air Force Base and the 45th Space Wing. So he'll be the keynote speaker. Ed Lanny will be there. We'll have a great ceremony.
Now, you mentioned the memorial service on the 29th. Is that something that civilians have to purchase tickets for? Just
not at all. This is totally free.
That.
The more people come, the better. Last year on Veterans Day, November 11th, when we had our grand opening of our museum and the new park, which we'll talk about later, we had 700 people there. It was a magnificent coming together. We bring extra chairs. We bring everything. We get food donated by local vendors. It just becomes a very special event for the community. And we're very pleased. I don't know if we'll hit 700 again because it was the grand opening, but we're shooting for that. I just got regrets from Wayne Ivey, a sheriff. He said, Don, I'd love to come out there. I'll send my 21-gun sheriff's rifle salute team. I'll send my security guys and a bunch of my guys. But I've been there three ceremonies in a row. I need to go elsewhere. So I said, thank you, Sheriff Ivey, because we have a tremendous connection with our law enforcement because they're after all the military in our country.
Yes, sir.
And we have a very proud of a memorial we just put in, dedicated on 11 November to law enforcement, to first responders. There are 18 Brevard County sheriffs, police, firemen, emergency rescue people killed in the line of duty since 1952. Every one of their names are engraved at the Veterans Memorial Center in front of this beautiful new monument to law enforcement and first responders.
Well, I also see it's not just a museum. You have library, you have a park.
Yeah.
So tell us.
It's got everything. We got something for everybody. We had a library that had 6,000 volumes in a room that you couldn't believe. You had to turn sideways to get through. But anyway, we decided to reduce the volume of the library, but the library was moved into what was the new museum, the old museum, 1,000 square feet. But we made the library a ring all around the edges of the bookshelves and comfortable seating for meetings, for study, for research. And we're just about finished in reinstalling about a 3,500 volume library. But more importantly, probably for today's generation, electronic center. So you can get on the internet, you can do research, you can watch DVDs. And one thing I'm very, very proud of, 2 years ago, we began a program, first we called Oral History. Now we melded with the Veterans History Project, which is an official U.S. government program sponsored by the Library of Congress and Red Cross. We now have 100 DVDs of an hour-long or more interviews with World War II and Korean era and other veterans. 8 of those veterans who gave those interviews have since died. So they have a copy for their family, a copy for our museum, and a copy in the Library of Congress. We cannot let our military history and the sacrifice of so many go the way of history.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I believe that. I believe that because it just reminded me of my dad. He was in World War I and II.
Yeah.
And those were some challenging times back then.
Very much so. You have to. It's not named the greatest generation for nothing. I mean, they really did set us up nicely, didn't they?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Ich kann Deutsch sprechen. I can speak German, but I'm glad I don't have to.
So tell us, what was that?
That was German.
What did it mean?
Well, I just was saying, you were talking about World War II. Okay. If your dad and others didn't go there, we're speaking German.
Gotcha.
There you go. That was a subtle one.
You're so awesome.
I slipped one by.
My dad didn't tell me that. So tell us, what is one of the challenges that you face?
Well, I'll tell you, one of the challenges that anytime you do major change, some people are worried about how's it going to turn out. But if you're willing to take risks and you have the support of in this case the state, they were the first ones in $1.5 million. Then the county put $1 million in to build this new Veterans Memorial Park, which we'll talk about. And then the community, over 2 years, the community, whether they be organizations, individuals, or businesses, have contributed $300,000 to expand and improve the Veterans Center. The state money built the building, but we still had so many things to do inside the building. Mm-hmm. We had to repair the old building. It was getting to be a very disaster. It had been very badly damaged in 04, 05, those hurricanes. So we had a lot of work to do, and we just kept moving forward and forward. And once people saw the potential and got worried about all the construction and just said, hey, let's see what happened, all those problems have washed away. One of the issues now is how do we blend what we're doing to the needs that are really out there. I'm just beginning to reach out, for example, to wounded veterans to make sure they know that park is there, that museum is there. They can reconnect to their being a veteran and see the stuff that they saw and work with, particularly those with PTSD or suffering other negative repercussions from their service. We were able to work with and go on contract with Gerard's Boats. He has kayaks and paddleboards right there. He's been having pretty good success starting up, and he will give a discount to all veterans and free for any wounded veteran, so that they can go out on the water and really enjoy things. And I guess this is a good time to turn to the park, which is the newest thing that we have. This is an 82-acre park in wetlands and in beautiful areas that have been carved out by the county. And after the land passed from the state to the county, originally it was all slated for condos. So there would have been no Veterans Memorial Center had the economy allowed that guy to build everything all the way around there. This is luxury property right on Sykes Creek. Beautiful, beautiful venue there. And about 10, 12 years ago, they decided to put in some ponds there in that area to help flush out the lagoon, the big cleaning the lagoon effort. So that really helped us from that organization. We didn't really know it because it was just wetlands. Nobody was going out there at that point. But then the county had over the last 6 or 7 years, had begun to plan, if there was an opportunity, they would go ahead and build this park. Many people in the county know Jack Madison. He was the former director of Parks and Recreation for many, many years. He retired in January, and he had told me the year before, said, Don, I'm not going to retire until that park is finished. He kept his word. We gave him a beautiful picture signed by all of us of the park, and it is going to be a very, very special place. It's already neat now, but over the years, working with the Merritt Island Redevelopment Association, working with the county, Parks and Recreation, working with the people, it'll become a much, much more usable place for a lot of people. We are anticipating working with Myra to come up with a community center area in a park environment, very good for walking, jogging, and everything else too, but maybe a band shell where you can have services, musical outings and all kinds of things, ceremonies, and also increased jogging paths, walking paths, some beautiful bridges, some fountains. And then you have Merritt Island is one of these places that doesn't really have a downtown. We'd be happy as veterans to welcome the whole community there because we're very selfish because we see anybody enjoys themselves in a park, they see this beautiful tower and this museum, they come and visit us.
Yes, sir.
Want to remind your listeners that everything we are talking about is totally free. We believe that donations will take us there and that we have established a store where we are making, a profit on that store, which returns into us. And I hope by next year, we'll be able to hire veterans who are going to college after their service locally, but need that extra bit of money, to get through. The GI Bill doesn't provide all the cost of living and everything, especially during vacations.
Yes, sir. So
that store, it was one of our main efforts to get our funding from Florida because, the governor is very big on employment and increasing jobs for Florida, for Floridians or people living here. So we feel that the welcoming of the community as they get more and more familiar with what we have, and there's something for everyone kind of thing, it will be very, very important. We have always rented out a portion of our facilities for weddings and ceremonies and meetings. That's brought in some money over the years, and now that's even increasing because we fixed up everything.
Right.
One company just donated a beautiful tiki hut behind our building, right on the Sykes Creek. So you have a beautiful view. That becomes our wedding venue. We had the first one last week. The father of the bride's very happy. No sign of the bride or groom now, but the father of the bride came today, and he said that was a wonderful place. The only problem is in today's world, you don't throw rice, right? You can't do that. So they threw bird seed, but there was bird seed all over everywhere. But we said it's okay because it was a good wedding.
That's wonderful. How can we as a community be a part of what you're doing?
Well, first of all, I'm a firm believer. I can talk until I'm blue in the face, but the main thing is to come and visit. Most of the people who come the first time tell us, I don't have enough time to see everything, and they'll come back. So it's a very convenient location. If you think about it, 520, halfway through Merritt Island, right behind the Merritt Square Mall. If you like movies, the big Cineplex there, it's right behind all that. And you can come and see what it is and then get some of our brochures. We do have brochures everywhere, the different chambers of commerce, some of the hotels, everything else. We've got some nice brochures. By the way, you and I are looking at it. Your listeners can't see this. But this brochure was done by a veteran for nothing. This is about about $6,000 or $7,000 of this and all the others done of charges if we had it done professionally. Okay. He did it for nothing, and then he tied us on to a company that we were able to get $5,000 for $130.
Wow! Because
of veterans discounts.
It is beautiful.
It's a beautiful brochure.
It is,
and I want to say that he did a fantastic job.
Yes, sir.
As we had many people who've contributed to what we're trying to do, and they see the value in it, and now more and more things happen positively in that direction.
So most of the people that is attending or being actively a part of the museum, are they all volunteers?
We have only one paid position, sort of our operations manager. He doesn't make enough money, in my opinion, but he's retired both from the Marine Corps and the police department out in Nevada. So he's the right guy for the job. Good security and everything. Bob Doyle does a great job. But he's the only one that's paid. The others are volunteers, except we do